everything is working properly apparently now. Very sorry about that, everyone. But we are back and we are here to stay, probably. That is with an asterisk that it is not 100%. So let us, yeah, every time you're bad luck. This actually happens very rarely, believe it or not. So let us get back into it. I was just describing to you all that you were walking up the steps to a sort of this strange vault-like thing that said "Vault for the containment of experimental researching equipment and information." So you're walking up the steps with this, and what's brought you there is they needed you to test some of this researching equipment. Yeah, that's where our adventure will begin officially. As you're walking up these kind of nice stone steps into this sort of grandiose-looking building, you see one particular Trigognome, kind of a big swirly mustache, a long beard as you approach. Ho there! Ho there! You, I believe, are the adventurers of Bartholomew's adventuring troupe, are you not?
Yes, we are!
Lack of gnomes give us away.
The lack of gnomes and, well, and he kind of looks down at you. Zrark. You are not a math goblin, are you? Just a goblin?
I will say this, I steal things, but math is something I don't like to steal. I'm no math goblin, I'll tell you that much.
He eyes you a little bit suspiciously and then goes, very well, yes, well, also I can see by the uniforms, and we are given, well, we did specifically request Mr. Zrark here, as he has a degree of expertise at theft and infiltration and so on and so forth. Please step forward, move into our commissary here, and a big kind of vaulted ceiling, it's open at the top, the sun's still kind of shining down through it, as they're still kind of constructing the interior of it, but again, it does look very much like a bank. You see, as I mentioned before, I was concerned that he may have been a math goblin, because we are erecting this particular facility in order to store research information to keep it out of the hands of said math goblins. And he kind of continues moving forward as he's kind of walking around. He's giving you a little bit of a tour of the interior. It's not... like I said, the inside's fairly bare, because it's still being set up. And that brings us to what we need you for in particular. We are going to be going down now into some of the containment facilities. We are using some of the most cutting-edge and intricate of technologies here in the capital city of Sohcahtoa, using all of the research equipments at our disposal in order to make the most secure vault possible. And it is our suspicion, as math goblins tend to be on the incompetent side, is that if we are able to stymie you adventurers, then that means we will undoubtedly do the same to any foolish math goblins that try and take our precious research materials.
I'll tell you this, if I can't break into it, I don't think a math goblin will.
That is our hope, Mr. Zrark. That is indeed our hope. So, shall we proceed to the vault containment and testing area?
Of course, please lead the way. We look forward to this opportunity.
Very good, very good. Now, I will be, he kind of walks you down towards a long hallway, and there's a little bit of a split. We already have some of our equipment in containment. The underground and the facilities have been ready for quite some time. We are still working on the front end, as you saw up at the top, but the back end is ready to go. Some of our clients were very anxious to have their research facilities and materials put away as fast as possible. So this is very much an active safe. So in that regards, the control center for it is over here. But in order to get to the vault itself, you will have to go that way. So I will leave you, but there are some of these, well, arcane voice boxes upon the corners of the wall. Again, some of the latest of our technology. It will allow me to communicate with you directly while you walk through the chambers here. So, he kind of gestures. Please proceed. If you move to the end of the hallway, you will encounter the vault. It will be very difficult in order for you to miss.
Let's go, shall we?
Before I go, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you have a moment?
Absolutely, sir. Anything that you would like to know. please.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Charm Person on this gnome, and so it's gonna force a Wisdom save, and I'm gonna ask very politely that he go to the control room and open the vault.
All right.
Well,
Very
that
well. He has advantage on these because of his gnome cunning, but he does not have any particular bonus. That is a 16.
Okay, that beats the save.
Um, yes, unfortunately, he is not charmed. He goes, "Ha ha ha! I see that you're already at it. That is the kind of ingenuity that I like to see, though. Anything it takes to get in. We absolutely want to see. Well, I don't want to see you succeed, but I do want you to act to the best of your abilities. Does this make sense?"
This
Very
does bring
much
up
so,
a
and I'm
rather.
glad that you
Very
understood what I
well.
was trying to do. For it's not just the safe you must protect, but those who operate it.
Um, I could not
Indeed.
agree more. And to that end, um, he kind of opens his hand, and you see kind of out of his sleeve, you see a very small kind of piece of metal. It seems to walk out, and what it looks like is a very small sort of mechanical bug. And it kind of like this construct walks along his arm, and he kind of flips his hand over, and it moves onto his palm. You see, to the greatest degree, the safe that we have ahead is operated by these. We're calling them microbots. We're still working on a more marketable name for them. But these microbots are going to be operating a lot of the interior of the vault. While we are fallible, these are not. They would not be responding to any of your charm spells, and it would take, well, an override of authority of their particular internal codes and processes in order to get through. Traditional enchantment magics will not affect them. So I do like where your head is at, but that is actually a precaution we have already taken. A lot of the steps that you'll be going through are not going to be controlled by me, but controlled automatically. Although I definitely would have been able to open the vault door for you, so it would have gotten you past the first step.
Cool.
So without further ado,
that was a clever try anyway. I'll give you that.
um, without further ado, and keep in mind, I will continue to be in contact with you as you move through. Don't forget the arcane voice boxes. And he begins to kind of scuffle off down, and you see kind of turns into a side room. There's a big kind of locked metal door that appears to be part of the control center here. Yeah, before you, there's a hallway. Is there anything you would like to do before you proceed to the vault? And hearing nothing, you proceed to the vault. You stand now before it. It is a large, kind of traditional-looking vault door. It is the large, sort of, circular iron with heavy bars that seem to function as the lock upon it. There is kind of a simple control panel to the right of it that seems to operate it to whatever extent. And yeah, you stand before it. Above you and to the left, you hear now a voice that just seems to come from, like, again, like I said, this kind of small box that appears above and to the left of the vault. All right, you're in position now, I believe. I would like you to try and break into the vault. You may do so by whatever means that you wish to do. You can try and break it down, you can try and break the passcode, but I suspect you will find it entirely impregnable. Once you have, well, completed and feel like you've exhausted all of your options, let us know and we'll open it so you can proceed through. This will be on the assumption that if you do get through, that you, well, will move on to the next area. Additionally, if at any time you feel that well, I will reveal to you now that there are some traps and automated defenses that exist in some of the chambers after the initial vault here. If at any time they become too intense, or you wish for them to subside, simply let us know. We do not wish to put you in any danger, just to test the extent of our research facility's capabilities. So I will leave you to it. And the vault door stands before you. What do you choose to do?
Well, first things first, we gotta look at the door and see how it works at first.
All right. Do you want to just make kind of an investigation check as you're looking this thing over?
Yes, indeedy.
All right, go ahead and roll that for me.
Yikes.
10. I mean, it's a big circular open door, like I described before. There's a keypad to the right of it, and you can see there's alphanumeric kind of entry pad on it, which it seems to be looking for some kind of password in order to get forward into the vault, and to unseal it so it could be then turned open. Is how you think it works. Beyond that, the technology here is very advanced, and you don't know anything about like how the circuitry might work or how any of the more kind of detailed components or aspects of it might function.
Does this vault door have kind of one of those classic bank vault, like the big spinny?
Yep, the
like...
big spinny door. It seems that the keypad unseals the big spinny door, and then you have to kind of like spin it and crank it to open it.
So it looks like a multi-step process. This looks complicated, even for my standards.
I will pull out my maul and give a nice little tap against the door to kind of gauge how solid it feels.
Dunk dunk, pretty solid. If you want to make a like an investigation check to actually determine, you think you could just, you think one solid swing would get you there.
Let's see how solid that one solid swing can go. I'll just aim up and try to slam that right dead center on the door.
All right, yeah, you swing your maul forward and go ahead and roll damage on that, because I mean, you definitely hit it. 12 bludgeoning damage. All right. Yeah, the maul crashes down into the door. You swing with, pretty much all the force that you can, trying to, just take it down in one hit, because you could tell from looking at it, it would take a solid hit. I mean, it's not a weak door by any means, but you are shocked to find as you strike it that there's sharp reverberations up your arm, and your body kind of freezes up, and kind of, a brief shock to the system. You are stunned for a brief moment from the impact of this. Additionally, as you kind of strike the vault with your maul, there is kind of a clamoring of energy, and it seems there's a slight discharge of electricity that shoots down the maul and into your arms, shocking you as part of the kind of defense system of this vault. Shocking you specifically for 3 points of damage, of lightning damage, as it didn't when you just kind of wrapped on it lightly, but the addition of force implied into it, kind of it seemed to have hit you back a little bit here.
Well,
I like this. I got a smart idea. Not
a scratch, additionally.
Just got a smart idea. So, what if... So the door makes electricity. I like where this is going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something really creative. I am going to... since I have two scimitars that are basically cutlasses, I'm going to make them connect to each other, so one end is touching the door and the other end is touching the keypad, in hopes that I electrocute the keypad when I strike it.
All right, that's pretty cool. Go ahead and
make an attack with it.
Yeah, go ahead and for starters, I want you to make me a survival check to kind of jury rig this little like impromptu circuit that you're trying to make. Yeah, absolutely. You take some rope and some string and tie it together, and it's a little bit farther apart than you initially wanted, but you just kind of find from lying around there's a lot of like construction materials still in the space, just from people building. You find some wire and end up kind of rigging up this little thing with your two scimitars, and it's in position. Go ahead and make an attack roll and roll damage.
Okay, so I'll roll damage with this, and boom.
4 points of slashing damage. All right, you kind of slam your scimitar into it. The scimitar is not damaged per se, but it looks like your impact wasn't hard enough to actually kind of trigger it. It looks like there's a certain kind of threshold of damage that one would need to do.
Who had the maul? Hit the door with the maul again.
Droglar, are you willing to go back in?
Do I see any gloves or the like around?
Not just in your immediate sight range.
Don't worry about the electricity. I have cure wounds. I can heal you afterward.
I'm gonna attack the door with my crossbow.
All right, go ahead and make an attack roll. And damage, naturally. All right, 9 points of damage. That is enough. The crossbow bolt slams into the door, and you see once again the kind of the bit of a spark appear and fuse over and around to the side. The spark of electricity zips through the scimitars. It hits the keypad, and as it does, you see the keypad kind of light up a little bit. There's some scrambling about the entry thing, and as it does so, it kind of, for a brief second, the keypad seems to shut down, and then at that point, it kind of lights up. It kind of lights up red, and it seems to go into some kind of safety lock. And you see the walls and kind of section around you all of a sudden, just large kind of metal panels slide down from the ceilings, kind of trapping you in this part of the hallway. And you hear an incredible kind of and terrible just alarm noise start to sound in the space.
My God, they thought of everything, didn't they?
As it seems you've triggered some kind of failsafe for an electrical override, and a brief moment later. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
After this happens, I'm going to attack the keypad with the crossbow.
All right. Go ahead and well, actually, again, you'll just hit it. So go ahead and roll damage on that. Another 9 points of piercing damage. The crossbow bolt slams into the keypad. You see a couple of the buttons get like destroyed, and it does a lot of damage to like the LED screen, and it doesn't seem to shut down the kind of failsafe lock that's happening right now. And at this point, you hear kind of a sound like kind of stopping the alarm, and the alarm ceases and the walls kind of pop up, and you hear a voice from the above box. As you can see, the vault door is very much impregnable. We have multiple failsafes on multiple levels. Interference with the keypad, extra application of force to the door, or, well, we have several other failsafe options, including attempted burrowing and other kind of circumventation through teleportational magics through. There is, well, we believe it to be completely impregnable. If you are satisfied that the same is true, then we can open the door and move you on through. Do you have anything else you'd like to try? But so far, this test is going very well.
I have one more thing. I actually have one more thing I want to try. You said the spinny thing is locked. There's a seal on the spinny thing. Is there a way I can pry the seal off?
It looks pretty flush. You don't think you would necessarily be able to pry it.
Well,
it would take something thinner than what your scimitar is. It would have to be something like a tool specially made for it.
Is the keypad destroyed, or
the keypad is the keypad now looks like smashed and destroyed.
You know, when we first came here, he did tell us directly how to open it. Though we won't exactly get there standing in front of it.
Wait, he told us?
And Droglar will begin walking back the way we first came in, and head to the little side room that our gnome went into.
All right.
Are any of you capable of creating electricity?
Nope.
For starters, Droglar, you kind of walk down back the hallway, and the door up ahead. I mean, it's kind of like a metal door. It appears to be locked.
Can I try to bust the lock with my maul?
Yeah, absolutely. Or actually, well, no, it's like not like it's like locked from the. You could try and smash the door open. Like you could hit the point on the door where the lock is.
Yeah, okay, I'll go for that. You know, like kicking in the door right at the.
All right, yeah, go ahead and make me a strength check.
Oh, strength. Shit.
That is not a bad maul roll.
11. You hit it, and it kind of, you hear a little bit of a creaking in some of like the wood and stone that's the building is made up out of. It's mostly stone, but there's enough of it that it would give. Give it enough time, you're pretty sure you can kind of break into this room if you put your mind to it. And at this point, you can hear the voice kind of coming from the box behind you, and he kind of speaks out to you. What are you doing?
I'm opening the door, and I will just spend my bit of time trying to get the door open.
All right. He goes, fine. Point taken. We're already going to have to replace that keypad, which is part of we put the money in and for further experience, so it's fine. But he kind of shuffles over and goes to like let you in.
It looks like we just made him worry about his own budget.
What do you want? I assume you're coming over here to hit the button to open the door?
No, you are. I'm
Okay.
not sure which button to hit.
Well...
And I would like to specify this is not us giving up on the task, rather the assumption that a math goblin will be able to force their way in and thus convince or threaten someone within to open it.
Point taken. And you are right. As I said, getting through the vault door is one of the lower steps, but one of the issues is that, well, like I said, the microbots which operate, you'll see perhaps a bit more of them as we move forward. Those are uncorruptible, and I don't have control over, well, quite a bit of the upcoming tasks. I can only, well, perform major system shutdowns, and they require multiple levels of authorization beyond just myself. Very much failsafe in our opinion. But again, point taken. Weakness assessed. And he kind of walks over as he's looking at you, kind of a little bit frustrated, and kind of goes, begrudgingly goes over and hits the button that opens up the safe, and you see it, the kind of spinning latch on the safe, the vault itself. There's a release of pressure and steam, and you are welcome to spin it open, those of you who are still standing near.
And
I'd like to do so as I was standing by the door. That was something I was going to try on it. We can proceed, but I was going to be treating it like a ship's wheel and trying to like feel it like you'd feel navigating a ship. The tug,
okay.
the pull, and so try to like figure out the like on a combination lock where you might listen or feel if you hit this particular tumbles. So Zewxip would have been, or Zewxip would have been there manipulating the wheel.
Okay, yeah. So Zewxip was doing so. Just out of curiosity, just for the sake of, go ahead and make me a. I'll let you use your ship proficiency to make a stab at this and see how it was going up until the point.
How would you like me to use vehicle water?
For this, it's probably Dex, and I'll let you add your proficiency to it. Because Dex is like kind of feel. You were moving kind of the spinning wheel, and you got the vibe that the spinning wheel actually doesn't control a ton on the vault. It's mostly the kind of seal that the keypad blocks, and then the wheel allows kind of the entry of the door. It's like an extra seal upon it if it is needed. So you get the vibe that it wouldn't necessarily open, although now as you're kind of turning it, there are definitely some tumblers that you're starting to notice in this kind of secondary, like if power shut down line of defense that you were kind of...
Success, I've done it!
You say as the vault kind of now turns and spins open, revealing a kind of hallway beyond.
Oh, now I'm just going to take my scimitars that are now probably sitting on the floor and be on my way.
All right, you grab your scimitars. Droglar, I assume you form back up.
Indeed.
And you guys kind of step through the vault. And before you, like I said, there is a hallway. Moving along it, and towards the end of this hallway, you can see another kind of smaller locked metal door that seems to lead into kind of the location where the quote-unquote goods are kept. As you step forward into this space, you see the kind of vault door shut and quickly kind of close behind you. as it seems to be one of the kind of components of this safe is that with most safes, locking people in is one of the major methods of keeping people contained, and it's designed to do so. You see it once more kind of seal behind you.
Is there light?
There is light within the safe. Kind of the glow of kind of arcane lights from the ceiling, casting not necessarily bright light. It's that kind of metallic, kind of unpleasant light with mostly kind of like gray and concrete around you. Very Spartan in its design, just all functionality. And another kind of voice from another one of these boxes out above and behind you, near where you kind of entered into the safe, speaks up. All right, you're about to move forward through towards the rest of the containment facility. Here we have a number of different traps. We'd prefer, again, not to cause too much injury to you at any one time. So as we're getting closer to them, I will kind of describe to you the nature of what it is that you are about to encounter, and I would like you simply to try and best it to the best of your ability. So, to begin with, you see as a couple of panels open on the sides of the wall, and out of it, you see a number of those kind of like microbots that he described to you before. You see they pull, they seem to be involved in like pulling it apart, and some of their bodies actually shift in form to make the panels, it looks like, on the sides of these wall. What looked like stone was actually kind of a rough metal, and the bodies of these microbots are kind of moving around and forming to make the shape of the inside of this hallway malleable. And two kind of openings open up, and out of them, two big claws appear. And I would like you guys to roll for initiative, as the voice in the box says, "These claws are one of our first automatic lines of defense. They are going to attempt to subdue and restrain. I want you to test their combat capabilities. Tell me whether you think, well, the typical math goblin would be able to shirk past this particular layer of defense." And the vault will also roll for initiative at this time.
So these claws are made out of the microbots, you said?
They appear to be, yeah, the microbots seem to be kind of like, they move around like bugs, but then they combine and reform to make these different shapes, including both in the wall and, well, you didn't see them form the shape of the claws. The claws seem to just come out of the wall that they were forming. So you don't know if the claws are also made of these microbots.
Interesting.
So the claws in this instance are going to go last. Oh no, I'm sorry, not even close to last. They're third. So the first to act is Zrark. Zrark, these things kind of pop out of the wall and begin to threaten you. There's two of them in this instant. What do you wish to do?
How big are they? These claws?
They are the claws themselves are maybe like 3 or 4 feet in their kind of grasp on the size, and they have kind of metallic arms, much in the style of, say, a Dr. Octopus. You might expect his claws to kind of look, as they're kind of whirling and moving out of the walls in a very kind of serpentine-like pattern.
Well, let's try the old-fashioned way. And I'm going to use my bonus action to Hunter's Mark one of the claws.
All right. You do so.
And basically, and then I'm going to shoot my short bow at said claw that I Hunter's marked. So let me just, okay. So here we go. 15. Does that hit?
15 is absolutely going to hit. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
So, here's the original damage plus an extra 1d6, it says. That's what
Yep,
Hunter's
that
Mark
is
does.
absolutely correct. 15 points of damage. All right, you fire your short bow, and it strikes the metal of one of the claws with the additional kind of accuracy granted from your hunter's mark. You see it hits right about one of the kind of joints, and it seems to be moving a lot less competently now. It's not completely down, but it's kind of staggering and moving awkwardly as it does. You've damaged robotics. What else do you want to do on your turn? Anything else?
That's all I can do. But I'm gonna try. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move back against the wall of the vault door that we first entered behind us, to get as much distance away from the claws as possible.
All right. Yeah, you move kind of back behind the wall of the vault, or back. Put your back to the vault door, and that's gonna move us now on to your turn, Cinnamon. Cinnamon, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna move back as well, and then fire with my light crossbow.
All right, go ahead and make an attack roll. 10, unfortunately, is going to miss. The light crossbow bolt fires, and one of the claws kind of pulls upwards and actually seems to fairly intelligently dodge the strike against it. Anything else on your turn?
No.
All right. That is going to bring us to the claws themselves, which the two of you kind of backed up. So you, Zewxip and Droglar, the claws are going to go after each of you respectively. That's Zewxip with a 12, and then what did I just said it? Droglar with a 10.
That will
hit?
miss.
That is also a miss.
All right, the claws go to bite down on you, Zewxip. You dodge out of the way nimbly, and then as they go after you, Droglar, they just kind of can't quite seem to get a firm grasp on your big armor that you're presumably wearing. I imagine you're on chain, something like that.
Indeed.
Yes, and that is going to bring us now to. Looks like it's going to bring us to Zewxip.
Okay, you described the claws as sort of being like Dr. Octopus claws. About how long are they?
They seem to be fairly long. The wire, there's like some openings in the walls now that they're kind of coming out of, and it extends down into those a little bit, but also the claws themselves seem to be at least like 15 feet long.
Okay, well, being a plant creature myself and having, spindly appendages somewhat like this, I've already dodged out of the way of a claw that was trying to attack me. And so what I'd like to do is to jump at the claw and grapple, like hold on to it in an attempt to, weigh it down, especially at the far end of this 15-foot, the kind of spindly appendage. And just sort of like cling on to the claw and slow it or hamper it or...
yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and make me an athletics or whatever your check for... Yeah, so I guess it would be an athletics check in order to grapple. Which it will contest. Yeah, rough roll. You go to grab onto it, and you're kind of holding it a little bit, but you're not seeming to get enough leverage in order to hamper its movement. The claw wiggles and kind of writhes, and eventually kind of pushes out of your grip without you getting a firm...
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
without you getting kind of a firm hold on it. Yeah, but it is very much like that. As you're kind of on the claw, you kind of slam into the ceiling a little bit at some point. You get kind of buffered back onto the ground. You land, on your feet still. You still have a bonus action movement. Anything else you want to do?
No real movement. I mean, I'm happy trying to. I'm just gonna try this again unless something else majorly changes. So, no real bonus or move.
Very good. And you hear as you kind of do that, a voice kind of speak out from the box above. Interesting tactic. That is not actually something that we had considered. The attempt to more manually break off and become... Well, the math goblins are small. They might be able to just kind of hold on to the outside of them and ride them. That is, a scary thought. The claws continue. Droglar, what do you wish to do?
Kind of keeping as light on my feet as I can, I will scoot closest to the base of the one that hasn't been shot yet, And I'm going to bring my maul down right at its root, kind of catch it between my maul and the edge of the wall.
All right. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Hey.
Oh, that is absolutely going to hit. Go ahead and roll damage on that. You absolutely do so. You see the wall itself seems to try and kind of like move in order to like drag the claw with it. The whole building seemed to acting in defense, but you kind of catch onto it with your foot and slam down, and that claw just snaps off in sparks of kind of electricity and kind of crackling energy, and the claw kind of wriggles on the ground for a brief moment as it's still kind of like teeming with life from what power it still had left, and then kind of falls empty. Oh no, it would appear that the joints there are a little bit flimsier than everywhere else. The microbots should have been able to handle that. Of course, at the moment we're only using 2 claws. The auto-defense system, well, it can operate, well, quite a few more than that. And you watch as panels on the walls open up, and at the top of the initiative count here, 4 more claws kind of pop out.
Oh dear.
And that's going to bring us to you, Zrark.
So I'm assuming the one that Droglar killed was the one I just hit earlier as well, so...
No, it wasn't. It very specifically was not the one damaged.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Then I will continue to fire at the one Actually, no. I'm going to use Slayer's Prey on my Slayer's Prey feature on said claw that I damaged, to make sure that I do 2d6 damage if I hit it with my short bow.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and fire away.
Does 13 hit?
13 barely hits, actually.
So let me just get that, and boom, and
7 points of
2d6.
damage. And additional 7. All right, yeah, this time your short bow shot, it strikes right into kind of like the point at the crux of the claw, where it seems to in between where the 3 kind of components grasp inwards, and it seems to penetrate down into the wire of it a little bit, and it kind of wriggles and then shorts out and also falls down on the ground. That claw is also down. There's only 4 remaining at this point. Anything else on your turn, Zrark? Nice shot.
Nope, not really.
All right, yeah, you're still kind of got your back to the vault, and that's going to bring us next in initiative to Cinnamon. Cinnamon, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna aim at what is new claws and fire my crossbow bolt. Or crossbow.
Right. Run it back. Go ahead and fire away. Nice. Roll damage. 4 points of damage. A very you're at first it was a little bit hard to judge their movement, but now that you're getting used to the kind of again very serpentine-like manner in which these claws move, you strike into it and you see a kind of a chain of sparks. Not enough to take it down in one hit. It's still functioning, but a pretty strong, a pretty clean shot there. And it is the claw's turn. And at the top of the initiative. Yes, actually, this facility is able to boast a number of these claws, or at the claw's turn. We're able to support up to, and you see an additional 6 claws pop out for a brief moment. Up to 10 of these at once. We think it will be more than enough to overwhelm almost any. And then, all of a sudden, the facility that you're in seems to completely lose power. Everything goes dark, and all of the claws just kind of, the ones that had just kind of popped out, just they just kind of like retract into the space. The lights go out, and it's just pitch black in the space that you're in.
Well then, that happened. They didn't even think about their own power supply. What idiots!
We might have damaged something.
This could be a
with that
trap
railway.
itself. Everyone, grab a claw. Let's tie them together while they're not powered.
That is a clever idea.
Oh, the claws. No, he just said the claws retracted into the wall.
The claws retracted.
Well,
Oh,
what we
sorry.
can do is we can use the 2 claws that we did kill. Right?
I think that we only have one.
No,
The other might have been.
no,
I think there's
Droglar.
only one of because one that we killed was actually severed from the thing. I don't know if the other one was returned into the wall with the other claws or not.
Well,
We may have killed it, but it could still be there on the ground.
I have dark vision, so I can easily check.
Yes, and with your wait, so you're just checking to see the 2 claws that are on the ground?
Yeah.
And what exactly are you checking again?
To see if they're still there, so they
Oh yeah,
can be
those
used.
the ones that broke off and were kind of destroyed are still there, just kind of limp on the ground.
All right.
They're still there. So why don't we use the claws as weapons against themselves?
Well, there are no more claws at the moment. I think it would be more practical to use them to pry open the door at the end of the hallway.
And as you're saying that, the power comes back on. The lights lift up, and you hear a voice kind of speak over the intercom. Sorry about that. Allow us to continue the test. Please proceed ahead to the vault.
Do we need to make an insight check on that, or can we just be suspicious of that?
You're welcome to be suspicious of that if you'd like.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right.
We were just having a few moments of a bit of a power anomaly. All should be well.
Okay, but we haven't finished the second test.
Of course, yes. The second test, of course, will be administered at the end of the first.
We already fit. Okay.
So hold on a second.
Well,
You're not.
I motioned to the party to be quiet. Before they continue speaking. And try to, because obviously at this point, I think everybody knows that this is not the Trigognome who set the test.
What do you guys do?
Well, I'm being quiet because what's the guy doing?
Right, we'll continue on to the first test, but we'll have to strategize. Do give us 1 second, and I'll kind of motion to huddle in.
There is a time component. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start, but we'll need you to get into that vault as quickly as possible in order to properly make sure all of the equipment is working at its maximum efficiency.
But of course, we'll be hastily as we can.
Yes. The voice cuts off.
Wait, I have a I actually no. I have goblins are my favorite enemy. Goblins are one of my favorite enemies. Can I use an intelligence check to see if I recognize that voice as a goblin's?
I won't make you roll for it. It is a goblinish voice. You can hear some of the goblin accent, some of the words that are native to the goblin tongue in it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm using. That's why I'm using an intelligence check.
The dialect is not necessarily one. Definitely goblin. You're not sure, not goblin from a region that you're familiar with, but goblin.
What type of check should I roll? Just straight intelligence?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna roll that with advantage since I have advantage on goblins.
Yeah, absolutely. 14. Again, the dialect is not one that you're familiar with, but from what you've kind of learned in some of the context clues, you think this must be a math goblin.
Okay, I'm gonna huddle in with the rest of these. Okay, guys, I think the math goblins compromised the vault already.
I don't think they've compromised the vault. I think they've simply gone into the room I busted open to get the first door open. Now they plan to use us to get all the way into the interior of it.
So, what should we do? Should we complete the vault like they do, or should we try to find a way to open the... what if we trick them into... Wait, if they can open the first door, why don't we have them trick them into opening the first door so we can come back there and kick their butts?
I don't think they know how to operate the door. Unless they're using the gnome.
Time is ticking.
Just one more moment.
Um,
I think it might be safer to play along for the time being, but fail at the final door.
Well, you heard them say it themselves. They don't know which task we're on. If we have them believe that this is simply beyond our means and that they will have to manually open it, perhaps they will have the gnome open the first door, which of course will open the door behind us, and we can loop back around to the control room.
Alright. So then let us complete the first test.
Yes, let's.
I agree.
So, how do you proceed?
So let
We
us inspect the door. The claws haven't come back, but can we inspect the second door?
The second door. So you're gonna walk up ahead to the end of the hallway.
Yeah, because we're gonna play along and help them out.
All right. I'd like you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh dear. Perfect. I'm good with those. Advantage. That's
all
a
right.
12. Never mind. I kept advantage on.
Oh, that is not quite going to do it. You take 6 points of fire damage as you're taking a couple of steps along this path. Big kind of flame jets fire out from the ground and shoot up at you. And
Ow! Ow!
they seem
Fight
to
the
be
fire!
they seem to be of a pretty impressive force. It looks like to a degree before the Trigonome was influencing like the claws. You saw there was a lot more of them. This looks like it was kind of the full force of that fire, kind of aimed to kill.
Oh no! I'm gonna shout this back out at the speaker box. We seem to be having a medical emergency. We understood that this wasn't going to be too harmful to us as testers. Please send in a crew. We need someone with healing capabilities. This is a severe injury. And if you'd like, I don't know if you want me to put some persuasion or deception
I do
behind
absolutely want you to make a. I don't think it even needs to be deception because it is a severe injury. So go ahead. Someone getting burned is definitely bad. Roll me a persuasion check. 22. There's just a long silence from the comm box.
Please, we need your help. Send in a medical crew now. We won't be able to make it through if we have injuries like this.
Unfortunately, some of the technologies within the vault are beyond my personal control. As we mentioned initially, the vault is run by bugs. So, the bugs, you'll have to.
So what you're saying is
he gets frustrated and then he just
the
goes.
bugs are the ones responsible for the severe injury.
Precisely. Well thought. So proceed to the end.
Well, clearly, this is a task beyond our means. You said that you had the ability to open up the first door should that catch us so we could test the second. Would you open up the first door?
Make another persuasion check with advantage.
Oh my god.
Yikes!
He can see I have wings.
I will do that now. And you're also kind of hearing, you kind of hear for a brief moment, you hear the signs of a struggle, and just, you just hear, "Don't let him!" And then it stops. Just a technical difficulty on my end. We're going to see about that. And there's a moment of pause, and then you see the walls around you start to react a little bit, and some kind of red light begins to course from the walls, and the bugs that were on the walls begin to glow this kind of reddish color, and they reform into their more kind of like bug-like forms, revealing like a lot of like, for one thing, very intricate circuitry and wires just along the side wall, like the internals of this vault that allows it to function in the way that it does. Additionally, those bugs all of a sudden just kind of begin to swarm at you viciously. Whatever he did not appear to be what he wanted to do, or this is what he wanted to do, one of the two. But I need you all to roll for initiative again as these microbots begin to come after you. So, in this instance, as these bugs all begin to whir around, all of them kind of glowing red, there's just this terrible buzzing noise that seems to be coming out of them, and the first to act in this instance, as all of these things come out, is going to be, oh wow, it's Zewxip, Zewxip, right at the end there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I guess I didn't hit the right button.
Oh, no problem at all. Go ahead and show us what you got. What's your move as these things come alive? There's kind of two quote-unquote swarms of them here.
How far apart are the swarms from each other?
They are on kind of like opposite ends. One came out from either side of the wall, so maybe 15 feet in total.
Okay.
How large are these swarms?
In that case, are they with burning hands?
The spot the spot that you would have to stand in order to burning hands them, since you're all kind of in roughly the same space, would hit your allies as well.
Gotcha.
So
well, then I would like to avoid hitting my allies, and I'll just focus on one of the swarms with the burning hands.
Absolutely do. Go ahead, or they're going to roll a dexterity saving throw, which they absolutely fail. Go ahead and roll damage on that. Um, 11 points of fire damage. The fire courses out, and these little these strange kind of small creatures, a whole bunch of them just kind of cinder and fall down to the ground. The crashing of metal against metal as they strike the floor. Anything else on your turn?
No, that'll be all.
You burn quite a few of them as you hold out your hand, Zewxip. That's going to bring us next to initiative 2. Zrark, what do you want to do, Zrark?
Well, since he's got one of the swarms under control, I guess I'll take care of the other swarm. And so, how big are these swarms? Is it like spread out like immensely or something?
They fit into a 5-foot square. Maybe one space on a game board. The swarm is a bit abstract in concept, but mechanically they're like the same as a person.
Then I guess I will use. Then what I will do. What is the range on this? I'm checking the range of spell. Okay, so.
Okay.
Next time so I'm going to use Hail of Thorns as a bonus action, which basically next time I hit an enemy with the weapon attack, the target creature must make a dexterity save or take 1d10 piercing damage.
All right. So go ahead and make that attack roll.
Okay.
Roll damage.
Roll damage, and that's 8, and then I have to roll the Hail of Thorns, so.
And they're making a dexterity saving throw for that, correct?
It's DC 12, I think.
So they are going to fail. You fire the short bow.
And it's 9 points of
nice
damage.
The short bow hit doesn't do that much because it's like just a bunch of tiny bugs, so you hit a few of them as it goes through. It seems to have resistance to that type. However, the explosion of thorns, a whole bunch more of them pierce, and again, just like you heard before, there's kind of like a rain of them as they fall down to the ground. Anything else on your turn, Zrark?
Nope.
That's going to bring us to Droglar. What's the play, Drog?
Let's see. I suppose I will run up to what's left of the cindered ones and just bring a hammer down, hoping to crush as many as I can.
Swing away. Does hit. Roll damage. Much in the same way as I described to Zrark, just kind of, smashing and swinging through them with a club, although the hammer's pretty good since it's so wide for it. But you bring it down and kill some of them, but not a ton. They have resistance to that as well. 7 points of damage you deal to the swarm, which is, starting to thin a touch. Anything else on your turn?
That'll do it.
All right. In that case, the swarm, since you kind of moved over to the side to get them, Zewxip, they're going to go after you and Zrark. As the first one's against you, Zewxip. That is a what? That is a 13 against you.
Miss.
And against Zrark, that is a 14.
Miss.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they kind of go and crawl on you. It's very unpleasant, the feeling of all these kind of tiny metal objects. The kind of legs kind of bite into your skin a little bit, which just feels uncomfortable. But you're kind of pushing them off as fast as they're going on. They can't seem to get a firm kind of bite on you as they're trying to just completely tear you apart.
Oh, this is extremely unpleasant.
And that's going to bring us to Cinnamon. What do you want to do?
Well, I'm gonna... you know what? I have a question about the microbots. Can they fly?
Yes, they appear to be able to fly.
Alright. Then I'm going to... I'm gonna... You know what? It doesn't make sense mechanically, but I'm gonna fire at it with my crossbow. Like, in my mind, it doesn't make sense, but...
Go for it. That hits. Roll damage. You watch as 3 microbots are perfectly skewered on your crossbow bolt as it sticks into the wall. As you kind of fire into the cloud of them. It's a little bit easier because they're very bunched up, because right now they're kind of swarming on Zrark and Zewxip. Anything else on your turn, Cinnamon?
No, not right now.
Alright, top of the initiative, Zewxip. What's it gonna be? You did a pretty good junk. AoE seems to be the way to go against this.
Yes, I'm going to use my last spell slot to use Burning Hands again on the swarm that I initially tried.
Alright. Run it back. Another 13 points of fire damage. Alright. As it courses out between you
You didn't make a
and...
dex save.
Oh, you're right.
How you could say it.
Yeah. It didn't matter because they were at a low enough health that half of that was enough to finish off that swarm. The fire courses out, and as it hits them, you see the remaining bugs there kind of fall to cinders and crash down onto the ground. That swarm is done. There's just a few kind of satisfying from the ground below you. Anything else on your turn, Zewxip? Nicely done.
That's all.
All right, that is going to bring us next to that would be Zrark next. What do you want to do?
I'll have my Hunter's Mark active. I'm going to have to use it on the swarm, though that might not prove that it's effective, but whatever. I'm going to now to attack it. I need to hold up. What's the Hunter's? I'm trying to check the Hunter's Mark effect if it works more than one.
The Hunter's Mark went away from...
No, but I can use a bonus, but as long as it's still active up to an hour.
Oh no, it's so concentration, so when you did the Hail of Thorns, which is also concentration, it breaks the Hunter's Mark.
Oh, well then. Actually, then, instead of using that, I will use my Slayer's Prey instead, so I don't waste my Hunter's Mark. I'll use my Slayer's Prey on them. And no, I'm not firing. They are way too close for that. I pull out my dual scimitars! Slashy!
Alright. Make those attack rolls. 7, unfortunately, is not going to do it.
I already used a bonus... bonus action is to use the offhand weapon, right?
Yep.
You use that, so... Rip. can't do that.
Use the bonus action for what?
Slayer's Praise is
The
bonus
Slayer's
action.
Praise, the bonus action. Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, then you go to swing the scimitar in, but they dodge around it to a certain extent as we move now on to Droglar.
I will put the hammer down, earning over to the arrowed.
Please do.
Hey,
Oh my god! It doesn't matter that these are
hey.
for 12 points of bludgeoning damage. Yeah, this chunk of them is almost done. You swing the maul downwards, and as you do, you kind of like, it's right as Zrark, they were kind of crawling on Zrark, and he kind of leans back a little bit, and it's just like shaving the front of Zrark, not touching him, but knocking off a huge chunk of these bugs that were crawling on him. And as you do so, there's exactly 2 beetles. There's 2 of these little microbots left. Is there anything else on your turn, Droglar? Nice swing.
As a bonus action, can I pick one of these up and just put it in my mouth and chew it, looking off at wherever the magic eye or camera might be for an intimidation effect?
I will allow it, but I will need you to make me an attack roll to grab onto it, because they're little. Just this one.
That's a mull attack.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it would have been his proficiency bonus for the unarmed strike. Anyway, so yeah, you reach down and kind of grab onto this thing, and just take it into your mouth, and crunch out. It crunches in your mouth, and you feel it kind of like bite the inside of your mouth a little bit. You are gonna take some damage from this.
You're gonna take it.
Oh, just a single point of piercing damage. I'm sorry, it has a +1 net damage. So you take 2 points of piercing damage as it kind of bites the inside of your mouth, but you are completely unfazed as you look intimidatingly up at the camera and just kind of stare. And at this point, the vault kind of falls inactive again, as I'll say the single remaining microbot is easily dealt with. There are now huge holes in the wall, revealing the kind of inner circuitry of this place. It looks like you could kind of like climb up into it and maybe navigate to that room from inside of the vault, if that is the course you want to take. Also, the space is kind of shut down. What were you gonna say, Maddie?
Would it be possible to try and pounce on that last remaining microbot and maybe put it in my belt pouch?
Make an attack roll.
Get a free little baby microbot.
Be your unarmed strike, whatever that would be.
Unarmed strike.
Actually, you can make an athletics check if you prefer that. Either one of those. 9 will be contested by its thing. That microbot's a little bit wiry, and in that case, since you're not finishing it off, it is going to try and bite you.
I'm gonna try and grab it.
All right, go ahead and make an. Well, its turn would have been before you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get an attack first. It's gonna be a D20 +3. A 17 to hit, Zewxip.
Ah! You got bit by a tiny little bug.
no!
How embarrassing!
As you go to grab onto it, it just kind of, it's now in this kind of like destruction mode. It gives no real heed to anything, so it kind of climbs up your hand and bites down onto your arm as you go to grab onto it.
I'll wave and scream, "Truly, this is the template from which all of these were wrought!" Ah!
Yeah, this one's apparently a fighter. You were gonna try the same thing. Go ahead and make an athletics check to grab onto it.
Alright, I just want to let you know that after I grab it, I am throwing.
Alright, I mean, okay. Well...
Yeah, you win.
Any damage kills it, so you smash it against the wall, and it is done.
Yeah, just throw it down the corridor, and it blows up when it lands.
Yep. There's just a small explosion of just the world's tiniest explosion. There's a baby mushroom cloud on the ground as you finish off this final bug. And what do you all do?
I will begin digging my way through all of the wiring and the void that now is the side of the chamber.
All right.
I'm going to do the same, but I'm using my small size to my advantage here.
Fair enough.
I am destroying
follow
everything
them.
that's tight.
What were you saying? Cinnamon, I didn't quite make that out.
So I'm following them into the walls.
Excellent. All right, so you guys kind of climb upwards and in for the sake of time. You guys could kind of navigate and find your way around. Zrark, it's a bit easier for you. There's a lot of narrow spaces that Droglar, in particularly as the big beefy half-orc that he is, has a hard time. Are you half-orc or full-orc? I cannot remember, I'm sorry.
Half-orc.
That's what I thought. Good. Kind of has trouble navigating through some of those smaller gaps, but eventually you find your way to a vent, and I will say that Zrark, since you got there the fastest, you were there first. You arrive at this vent, and you kind of are able to relay the scene to the people behind you. But you're looking down, and you can see what looks like a math goblin wearing a robe with a big minus sign on it. You see tied up on the side of the room. You see the Trigognome that kind of let you in. He looks a little bit bruised and beaten up, and he's kind of like this math goblin right now is just kind of frantically looking over the controls and trying to like figure out how to get into the vault. You assume has to be his reason, and also locate you. You see he's kind of like very ineptly working his way over the controls. Like he's shuffling through cameras, but he's like the cameras he's shuffling through are like exterior ones and just like random hallways, certainly not where he wants to look. And as I said, you're in a vent like a little bit above and behind him.
Is there any way I can break into the vent so I can rescue the Trigonome?
Yeah, you can just like smash out of it at any time.
Oh.
Can one shoot through the vent at the math goblin?
I don't think so. The vent would
the vent's kind of like thin. If you had, like,
yeah,
the first shot would break the vent open. You could maybe.
How about that, guys? Let me break the vent and I'll get the drop on him. And
one of you get the gnome, one of you get the door. I'll handle the goblin.
So I'm gonna take my scimitar. I'm gonna make an attack on the door. I would assume the vent.
All right.
Boom and boom, and I'm gonna break open and jump right on and go. Yeah!
I will follow right behind, swinging as I follow.
He is absolutely surprised. So he's gonna he's just kind of in shock as you come all one at a time, I imagine, pouring out of the vault. Zrark, you kick it open, and you said you're going straight for the gnome.
I'm gonna save the gnome.
All right, yeah, you duck down out of the vault with kind of a flip. You land on your feet. It's only about a 6 or 7 foot drop, so it's not too dangerous. It's not a huge room, and you swing your cutlass and cut the ropes on the Trigognome's form. He kind of stands up and looks around. Seize him! And points to the Trigognome. The next out of the vent. You guys can go in whatever order that you wanted to have been in the vent. Who would like to have been next?
I'll pour out and I'll use Thorn Whip to try and bring the goblin, the offending goblin, closer, sort of bind him.
All right. Go ahead and make an attack roll. He's surprised, but now that the goblin has kind of jumped out, he is not necessarily advantaged. But 15 is still enough to hit him anyway, even through his mage armor. Go ahead and roll damage. 3 points of damage. You drag him away from the controls of the console and bop down onto the ground near him. He is now there's about a 5 foot gap between you and him. As you pull him closer, making it much easier for anyone else also coming out to get a shot at him. Anything else on your turn, Zewxip?
No, that's all. Just don't kill the goblin.
Very good. In that case, that's going to bring us... Droglar, you said you wanted to go next. You hopping down?
I'm hopping down, and hearing "Don't kill the goblin," I will just shatter the goblin's legs instead of bringing it down.
Jesus. Go ahead and make an attack roll. 17 hits, roll damage. Oh, his poor legs. You watch as his knees kind of buckle as the hammer strikes. He falls down onto them and just goes like, ah! Next initiative, and last but not least, Cinnamon.
Can I action surge to grapple him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make an athletics check. I mean, come on. The negator is not going to get a turn as he rolls a 14. You just kind of you got him by the scruff of the neck. His kind of math goblin robe. You get a firm grip on it. It's easy to hold. And now I believe it is going to bring us to Cinnamon. What do you do, Cinnamon?
I guess drop down out of the vent and just aim my crossbow at him and say, "Don't struggle."
God.
All right. Go ahead and make an intimidation check. Absolutely with advantage. 7. He kind of.
I'm just not menacing looking. I guess.
Cinnamon's just the Sugarplum parry, the big wings. It all kind of adds up to a not necessarily intimidating picture. And this guy kind of looks at you and he goes. He puts his hands up in the air. I won't. But you should. I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw. All of a sudden, you have been made negative as he uses the negator uses negate on you, and you have in this instant you have to use your reaction to make an attack against one of your allies. In this instance, the person holding him, Droglar. I'd like you to make an attack against Droglar. Roll damage. All right. You take 4 points of piercing damage as Cinnamon just kind of fires a crossbow bolt into essentially just the back of your neck. And Droglar, you're tough and you can kind of hack it, but it's definitely shocking. And as you kind of turn around instinctively, you see that in the eyes now of Cinnamon, you kind of see a glowing red that seemed to also have even impacted the same thing that impacted the microbots before. And he's going to also try and break out of this grapple, which you can do. Which I need you to make me another athletics check. It's contested to hold. You do. He does not even come close.
You should not have done that.
And that's going to bring us to Zrark. The Trigognome is free.
Oh dear, what to do with you? I'm a goblin, but I despise you, math goblins! What should I, And then so I walk up to the grappled, and I'm going to, can I make an intimidation check on him?
Intimidation check?
With both of my cutlasses against his neck.
Absolute. Oh Jesus! Absolutely. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
Okie dokie, give me 1 second, and yikes!
And he just kind of looks at you and he just goes, "I know when I'm beat."
You know when you're beat?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that's not.
He kind of once again puts his hands up into the air. The turn is going to be Zewxip's.
Okay. So I don't have to make a wisdom save this time, or?
No, it's not his turn.
Okay.
Zewxip.
I am going to use my rope, and I'm going to go for a gag at first. I want to try and tie him up, but I definitely want to try and gag him so he can't cast spells, or at least I presume he won't.
Yeah, that's a little bit tricky. But go ahead and this is just going to be an unskilled attack. Just go ahead and make me an attack with either strength or dexterity, your choice, but you're not proficient in this.
So D20 plus your
strength or dex, your choice, which you'll roll to try and avoid it happening to him. Be like a kind of a fancy grapple will allow here for that. But you still do it. You coil the rope around and pull it into his mouth, and he at this point.
No words.
And you kind of like tie it around, and at this point you see his arms, which he had in the air, kind of slumps down to his side, and his body goes a little bit limp into your hands, as he does now appear to have given up. As we get to your turn, Droglar, what do you do?
Clearly, he has sorcered my companion, and that is unforgivable, so having held him by the scruff of the neck, I will now instead hold him by his now shattered ankles as I swing him bodily at said charmed ally.
Oh my god!
Whoa! Wait, you're swinging him at your charmed ally.
At me.
I'm swinging him
I was-
with a weapon to try to break the charm effect on.
My god!
You go to swing at Cinnamon, and as you do instinctively, you just kind of all of a sudden your arm stops, and you just hear, "There is no PvP in the land of DnDTime." As you can tell by Bartholomew stopping your swing that your ally is no longer charmed. But the arm then kind of continues around towards the ground and not your ally, as you do smash this goblin into the ground. Go ahead and make me still an unarmed strike, essentially, against this goblin.
Okay. Roll in Maul just because I don't have an unarmed strike up.
Oh my god, you monster. And with that, this math goblin, Negator, or the Negator, is smashed down into the ground. His eyes roll back in his head, unconscious. And the Trigonome just kind of calls out, "Yeah!" As he seems very excited about his defeat. And you have, in this instance, seized the day. Nicely done. The math goblin, or the Trigonome rather, turns to you. "I will see that this individual is remanded to the authorities, and in addition, it seems like we still have some work to do on making this vault as secure as possible. You've gone above and beyond the call of what we expected for this test, and I have to say that I appreciate it very deeply. If there's anything I can ever do for you, please let me know."
Oh, I will.
Hire a higher tier adventurer next time.
Put better fortifications on this room.
That can be done, and that will be done. He looks at you, Droglar, as he said that.
I'll make sure to tell the others that you do us a favor.
Very well.
And next time, don't think every goblin is bad. Like me!
That is my mistake that I made. You have certainly proven yourself here, Zrark. It's just, well, you can't be too careful. But nonetheless, thank you all very much. And with that, he hands you each 100 Bartholomew bucks. You each gain 1 experience, and that will conclude our first adventure of the evening. Thank you all very much for playing. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for the fun.
10 out of 10.
The part where you broke that poor goblin's legs. Oh.
I gagged. I literally gagged and coughed.